Hola, Internet amigos. Happy Thanksgiving. Americanos. It's Thursday, 27th of November. It is nearly 4 p.m. in Querétaro, Mexico. Let's listen to the Young Turks talk about Tucker Carlson. We see the teaming up of the right-left team. We had Soros, we had Kissinger. Now this team is forming a middle ground, I guess. This is the way geopolitics transforms. We're going to hear about betrayal within the US State Department, Milstein, and good old Jonathan Pollard coming up again, #1 traitor to America. If you don't know who Jonathan Pollard is, just go and look up the documentaries online and you will sit there dumbfounded and astounded. They throw the name around a lot, but he actually, when he got out of jail, he actually said Jews may as well be spies against the United States. I mean, I don't know what to say about that other than, well, that's what collective psychopathology does. And I'm being quite serious. They're collective psychopaths, narcissists. Okay, collective psychopaths. I'm not just throwing the word collective psychopath or pathological narcissist on a collective level around casually. I mean it literally as a mental diagnosis. I've seen it. I knew a lot of the Jewish community, converts to Christianity and others, Orthodox. And we always had interesting conversations. And they never disagreed with me. But their view is, look, Brendon, you're not trying to kill me. I'm not trying to kill you. All we have to do is survive. So we have this problem, Book of Daniel, Book of Revelation, which is we're all waiting for Armageddon passively, which I don't believe God wants at all. God created consciousness. God created us to be God-like, to be literal little gods who make decisions and who act accordingly. If he wanted unconscious dumb animals, we'd all be dogs, wouldn't we? Licking our balls and looking for food and doing the most basic things. So I don't believe for a single second we're meant to relax. We can still be of good cheer, even in times of trouble, and have some confidence, but we don't stop calling out criminality. We don't stop arresting bank robbers just because Jesus is coming to wipe our butts and solve all our problems for us. I think this is pretty obvious. If you don't have to be a theologian to work out, you don't just passively sit there and wait for Jesus. But this is literally a psychological warfare operation. Some of it has come out of the Soviet Union in the 1970s, the perestroika deception, where they knew they couldn't beat the US economically. They knew they didn't have the technological base. They knew they didn't have the industrial base. They're in big trouble, so they had to go to full active measures and they had to go to full subversion. And I believe Yuri Andropov, and one of his Putin's favorite guys is, of course, Yuri Andropov, the great Soviet spy. I believe without question they were always infiltrating, were also key in the creation of the State of Israel. And they decided they would penetrate deeply in the 1970s into the evangelical movement, the Scofield Bible movement, and they would infiltrate deeply into the NRA, so-called conservative movements, and they would utilize Christian fundamentalism and passivity and waiting for the end as part of their active measures perestroika deception program through the 1970s. At the same time, you saw the Binational Science Foundation in the 1970s, 73, with Kissinger. Kissinger was central. It all started in the 70s. And the BIRD and the BARD. The BIRD is the Binational Industrial Research and Development Foundation.
In a world of no boundaries and endless possibilities, you know that 2 is better than 1, that persistence pays off, and that one should always keep trying even if there's risk involved. We know that with the right partner and reliable backing, the sky is truly the limit. You already have a brilliant idea and advanced technology. Now what you need is someone who can support your partnership and provide a framework for cooperation. You need someone who is open to your ideas and will share the risk. BIRD was established by the US and Israeli governments with an extensive network in both countries. BIRD connects potential partners, one from each country, initiating strategic partnerships. BIRD funds up to 50% of the combined R&D budget, up to $1 million per project. The funding is a conditional grant, and BIRD claims no equity nor IP rights. Repayments are due if commercial revenues are generated as a result of the project. The United States and Israel have a common goal: to promote innovation and advance technology for mutual benefit. They that creates economic and social impact in both countries and beyond. That is what BIRD is all about.
And the BARD is the Binational Agricultural Research and Development. And it's all to do with technology transfer to the state of Israel and transferring the US high technology base to Israel, just as they transferred US manufacturing and heavy industry to Asia. This was the Kissinger-Morgenthau plan to shift US, the guts of the US into other countries and then completely disempower and collapse the US. It hasn't worked. It hasn't happened. It's being repaired, but we don't know how long it will take and how many will die and whether it's going to be any better than the old system. I guess we'll just have to wait and see and sell more coffee mugs and t-shirts. Don't forget to like and subscribe.
What's up, y'all? I'm the last man on earth. Shit's all fucked up. Don't forget to like and subscribe.
But that's the basic theme. And then we see Lachem, which then Pollard was involved with Rafi Eitan. We saw Lachem turn into the BIRD, the BIRD. And who was on the board of the BIRD? None other than Rafi Eitan, who was handling Pollard. This is a matter of historical record. Whitney Webb took all the stuff we gave her and passed it off as her own and then gave 30% of the story. But that's fine. We'll deal with Whitney Webb a bit later. So now we're in this point now where we see the limited hangout controlled release. You'll have to decide whether it's good or bad. Maybe it's all necessary. I had high-level meetings with this is what I mean. I don't think Jews and Jews in general understand just how high this goes. They think it's just a sideshow and everything's fine. They don't seem to get it. I'm sure a few do. But you'll have to decide whether this is okay. You could take the view that it's fine and that these things are handled quietly and these things must be handled delicately. What it had to say to Mary, spoke to her for 3 hours, Heather's US State Department, hanging, going to big, and God bless her, she's a wonderful lady. We were in contact for a while and she's trying to say, look, just calm down. These things take a long time. And she never outright said who she was. She just said a few things, obviously. And she went to Washington, D.C., and she handed around all the information we provided. She was, if you recall, having a meal at Washington, D.C., and she said she walked in the door and the Chinese embassy staff pounced on her, giving her cards. And so this is the sort of people that people have been meeting and talking to. So if there's nothing, Joint Special Operations Command, SOCOM, it's not just a bunch of half-wits. I'm just very concerned that a lot of this can be fixed very quickly with some adult conversations with adult professionals in the public eye, not little closet homosexual half-wits like Nick Fuentes and co, getting cross-promoted with Kissinger's boy, Murdoch's boy, the purveyor of war and the protector of war for 20 plus years with Megyn Kelly and Candace Owens. I just object to those people even daring to show their snouts in public without a full repentance, full confession, prostrate to the floor, begging for mercy from the public and apologizing deeply and profoundly to the Arab Middle East for what they've covered up and what they have assisted in via the Kissinger-Murdoch. So here we see the Young Turks bringing on stuff. And with that little bit of background, also just finally, Pollard was a cocaine-addicted fool. And here's what everyone's going to miss because they're never going to probe deeply. Pollard was reported again and again and again and again and again. His cocaine use, he was incompetent. He had a big mouth. He was saying he worked for the Mossad. Complete freaking loon, completely incompetent, alcohol in his breath. Nobody did a damn thing. This is where the investigations need to go. Constantly, again and again. Defense Intelligence Agency, Ana Montez. Caught red-handed, under suspicion, again and again protected. Nothing ever happened. And we've seen this again and again and again. 1975, they got rid of James Angleton, blamed everything on him. He wouldn't let us get Russian defectors. It's all James Angleton's fault. CIA counterintelligence. Well, after he was left, did you improve? No, you got fucking worse. You were even more incompetent. Aldrich Ames was reported again and again as coming to work drunk and incompetent and losing briefcases, walking around with new $1,000 suits and new cap teeth, new Jaguar, buying cash houses. Went on for years. Nobody did a damn thing. So strange, you actually got worse after James Angleton. Worse. So who the hell infiltrated after the end of James Angleton? Who warned there was a gigantic conspiracy? And he was right, along with St. Joseph McCarthy, a literal freaking saint. And he will be rehabilitated. Won't he, Diane Wade? So once you understand that Pollard was walking out the doors of Office of Naval Intelligence with suitcases full of material, And most of it had nothing to do with the Middle East, continuation of government, nuclear plans, war plans, you name it, which was then handed over to the Soviets by the good allies of America, the Israeli state, or an element of it, Likud. And lo and behold, they're actually holding the door for him as he's walking out with all this stuff. And he had a pile so high in a photocopier at the safe house, it nearly filled a room. This went on for years. Ask the question, what's going on and who's running counterintelligence, CIA and FBI? Who's infiltrated everywhere? We keep saying they're in everything. We keep saying and saying and saying. And when we say everything, we mean everything. Most of all, the critical infrastructure itself, the nuclear bomb, which is allowing them to negotiate. So let's see where this all heads. Maybe all these things are handled quietly. I don't know. I don't buy that. I believe you go in hard and you start ripping out throats. But, that's just me. Anna gets very, Anna, marry me, my sweet. Should see what Anna says. My goodness. Let's hear a few words.
Who is David Milstein? He is the senior advisor to Ambassador Huckabee. Oh, did he work for Ted Cruz? Yes. Yes.
Sped it up a bit.
Okay. And he is the stepson of your best friend, Mark Levin.
He's Mark Levin's stepson?
Yeah.
And he's working at the State Department?
Correct.
Interesting. So David Milstein is a political guy working now for Mike Huckabee in Jerusalem, and he was going through your lines.
Correct.
Okay.
In fact, Mark Levin's stepson, David Milstein, was present for U.S. Ambassador to Israel Mike Huckabee's meeting with a literal traitor to the United States, and that's, of course, Jonathan Pollard. Interesting. So you have this guy who's literally just an aide to Mike Huckabee having an outsized role and influence over U.S. foreign policy. And nothing makes that clearer than the fact that he's the one who got the gentleman that you saw on that screen talking to Tucker Carlson fired because he didn't go along with the Israel first policies that Milstein was pushing for in the State Department. So I'm gonna give you some more details on that in just a moment. But before I do, Cenk, your 2 cents?
If there is a real American government that represents the American people at some point, I think these guys might be in significant legal trouble. Some of these folks literally seem to be working for Israel and not America. And if they're inside the American government and they're making decisions in favor of a different country, that is a crime and a very significant one.
What?
So let's.
Anna's going to go off.
Is it? Because after learning about Huckabee's meeting and the fact that the White House defended Huckabee having this clandestine meeting with a traitor, someone who was convicted of espionage. Okay, he had a meeting with that guy, and the White House defended him.
Even though he did it behind the White House's back and behind the CIA's back. So the reason why that's the case is, and that is a spectacular example of showing that Israel definitely controls our government.
100%.
Definitely. If that happened with any other country, oh, I met with a traitor who actually gave our secrets to Venezuela or to Cuba or to Russia or to China, and I did it behind the president's back, that brother's arrested immediately.
Executed.
Okay,
well,
No, I'm sorry, but I mean, you have Pete Hegseth right now going after.
Oh, let's slow this down to normal speed. I got it on 25%. Let's slow this down. Why isn't this working? It's not letting me press the button. Playback speed. Let's get this down. Oh.
Mark Kelly, because of the video that those 5 Democrats put out urging the military to not listen to Trump, they shouldn't have done that. I don't think that was the right thing to do. I'm just keeping it real. Okay, but Hegseth is now thinking about going after Mark Kelly specifically for potential espionage. Homeboy, our ambassador to Israel just met with a literal traitor to the United States, a convicted traitor to the United States. How about focus on that for a minute?
And in secret and inside the US Embassy. That man should have never darkened our doorstep ever again after betraying us more than almost anybody has, other than another Israeli spy, Robert Maxwell, who stole our nuclear secrets. What kind of an ally is this? And yet there are tons of people, as Anna's about to tell you, that are inside the US government who clearly appear to be working for the Israeli government. And by the way, any talk of execution is, of course, through official channels.
After conviction,
an
official
treason,
sentence.
etc.
Yes.
And even then, I wouldn't be in favor of it. Anna would. Okay.
Oh, look. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I like to hear this. The Soros team, and then we have Team Kissinger over with Tucker, forming the middle ground of some new psychological warfare operation for good or ill. I don't know. I don't know anymore. Are talking, this is the right rhetoric, execution. I want to hear that word every day, execution. Yes, execution. Yes, the maximum penalty for treason is execution. Okay, but just to remind everyone, And this is Ann Neuberger, okay? Ann Chaney Neuberger. Ann Chaney Neuberger grew up mostly in the Hasidic Brooklyn neighborhood of Borough Park. Parents were among hostages rescued during an Israeli raid on Entebbe. All right? This Orthodox Jewish woman named Cybersecurity Chief for U.S. spy agency. She's in multiple roles now. This is one of thousands. You want to go on about Pollard? Pollard is nothing. People like Pollard, except very competent ones who aren't drinking, drugs, bragging, doing cocaine, like Ann Neuberger, whose Hasidim group is in London and Antwerp and Rotterdam, in all the drug smuggling and diamond drug money laundering areas, is literally sitting at the top. Now, this is why I'm trying to be happy. I'm trying to give a positive spin, but I fear that if we don't keep pushing in our ways, you watch these videos, share it around, take the concepts, push it onto their comment section. Comment sections are very, very important online. It gives them the data they need to understand that nobody's fallen for their crap. And what we need to understand is how big this is. You've seen my videos, and again, the link is below to the not live stream, playlist on my YouTube channel. There's a playlist. I'm on Substack, I'm on TikTok, I'm on Patreon. I'm going to leave my Patreon up for now. There's 2,700 posts. I thought, geez, some of those posts are really good. But anyway, we'll work it all out. But Substack is my main one now. Not terribly fond of it, to be honest. But anyway, I'm not pissing people around anymore. Just changing back to Patreon. I ain't going back there. But we need to understand that if they're getting upset and calling for execution for these little bits of tidbits they're giving, imagine what happens when everyone finds out how bad it really is. Let's now cross to Bill Binney. This is the great Bill Binney, who I am not seeing interviewed by these people. His name is never being mentioned. And I watch these every day. I can't watch everything, but I watch a lot. And in the great documentary, A Good American, you got to watch it. Bill Binney describes how people who are friends with Ann Neuberger, some of them are black and they're clearly Jew. I can spot them a mile away, change name Jews. They look like 4th, 5th generation, old Russian, Polish, Jewish Bolsheviks, multi-generational on the highest levels. See what these people had to say after 9/11, that there's plenty of money for everybody. Watch this.
General Hayden hired Bill Black to come in and take over the deputy directorship. Once Bill Black was brought in from SAIC, where he had been a vice president, the following spring he brought in another senior vice president from SAIC, and that person was Sam Visner. And who gets the contract to develop Trailblazer? SAIC. What's wrong with this picture?
SAIC was a private company. It is made up basically of retired NSA individuals. People from NSA retire and they'll go into a company like SAIC, and then they'll use their contacts back at NSA to get contracts back to SAIC. So when Sam Visner came in to take over the NSA Transformation Office, the first thing he did was to call me to his office. So I went up to his office to talk to him, and when I went in there, the senior developer for the Trailblazer program was there. And the first thing Sam told me, he said, I do not want you briefing ThinThread to anybody again. And the reason he said that, of course, was because we had already set up an appointment to brief Charlie Allen. He was the senior collection officer for the intelligence community, so he had a lot of influence. So I asked him if he wanted me to cancel that appointment, and he said, no, don't do that. You go ahead and finish that briefing. I said, okay, I'll do that. When Charlie Allen got in there, the first thing he sat down and said to us, even before we started to show him anything about ThinThread, he said, I hear you have a cheap Trailblazer here, and I'm here to see it. Well, I mean, I had been invited Maureen Baginski to come up because Maureen knew Charlie Allen. They were friends they had known each other for a number of years, I think. And she was there, and she said, at that point, she said, yes, Charlie, but we still need the money. That was the end of our briefing of ThinThread. On August 20th of 2001,
Maureen Baginski called me and asked to speak with me and Bill Binney at 4:30 in the afternoon that day. And she said to meet her in her office. So Bill and I went down to her office, and it was in this meeting with her that she advised us that she was terminating ThinThread.
She said her decision was made because she had to decide whether or not she wanted to make 6 people unhappy or almost 500 unhappy. So she chose to make the 6 people unhappy. So her decision was what I basically called happiness management.
They are letting us stay up. I'm not sure why. Newark is allowing us to stay up. Only the news helicopters are allowed up out of the entire country. We're like 5 people in the air. That's it. Oh, those poor people. Oh, God.
On 9/11, I had taken my father-in-law to the eye doctor for an examination, so I was sitting in the waiting room watching television while he was getting examined. And that's when I saw the first plane hit the tower in New York. And immediately that said to me that we as an agency had failed to give warning of this terrorist attack. So when I got in there, went up to the SARC, and while I was in there trying to look at the material on my computer, my president of the contracting group that I had working on ThinThread came over to me and said that he had just been in a contractor meeting with Sam Visner. And in that meeting, Sam Visner had told him that he said to him, "Do not embarrass large companies. You do your part, you'll get your share. There's plenty for everybody." And he also said that Sam had said that we could milk this cow for 15 years.
We began to go out to the workforce. And I would accompany Maureen Baginski. The workforce took this extraordinarily hard. People would ask her, "What are you going to do?" And I still remember her saying, 9/11 is a gift to NSA. We're going to get all the money we need and then some, direct quote. "9/11 is a gift to NSA." All she saw was dollars coming from Congress. And we would get to spend freely.
It was not what we were supposed to be about. It wasn't about making money. It was about protecting the country and the free world. It wasn't, wasn't how big of an empire we could build or how much money we could make, There's just sickening.
Now, if that doesn't get your blood boiling, I don't know what will. And I'm a little perturbed that why none of these groups will have Bill Binney on. Well, they can't because, these people are not running their own shows. They are being directed in the Department of Defense Online Psychological Warfare Program. And, I'm just to the point where, maybe these things are handled quietly, or else I wouldn't have been contacted by so many high-level people and told to calm down. So calm down. To hear these clowns, Tucker Carlson, they might kill us. Dude, you're flying first class. You have multiple rental properties. You got several $100,000 in cash in your open bank account. And no doubt, like Alex Jones, you got a few million in your Nevada LLC where they allow their assets to hide their money, like Alex Jones. Or the Intel affiliated assets. Maybe I'm just jealous. All I wanted was a fucking Mavic 4 Pro drone creator pack, but apparently I couldn't even get that. Sorry, Lee. So if Bill Binney's comments can't get your blood boiling, I don't know what will. Americans are clearly fast asleep. I don't know. You tell me. So anyway, So we've got this angle happening on Thanksgiving. The Jonathan Pollard, that's just the tip of the iceberg. I presume it's going to be slowly leaked out and slowly put onto the, apparently they're all thinking they're very clever because they've said, oh, my good Epstein, we might have proof that he worked with Israeli intelligence. It's like, oh my God. All right, ladies and gentlemen, well, I hope your Thanksgiving went well. For all your sins, America, you're all there is, really. In terms of the true word freedom, it's like Frontier House, one of my favorite shows. People get a taste of, they get out of Hollywood, they get out of Beverly Hills and they go to a frontier house and they loved it. Do you remember those episodes where the kids didn't want to come back and they loved horse riding? Point is, they experienced a degree of fresh air and freedom. And it's hard to give it up. And for a lot of people, maybe we really do have to sort the wheat from the chaff, and maybe that's what's unfolding before us. The psychological profiling, the social networking, data science is to a point now where we can truly separate people out, and we know exactly what they truly think and truly feel, and we can just start separating people out now. Those who want freedom, love freedom. Those who seek justice. Even if you're sincerely wrong or have the sincere different values to me, but you're sincere, there's a sincerity about you, and sincere people can be converted. Sincere people can see the light and go, yeah, you might be right there on that. You know what I mean? And then you can see the psychopaths, and psychopaths are fucking everywhere. And we've got to understand what a psychopath is. They're shallow, they're demonic, they have no soul, they don't care. They just want to go along to get along. And it's all about their pleasure, they're feeling good. They're pleasuring themselves in sexually or through food or through the acquirements of material goods. That's a psychopath. I have a friend, if you didn't know him, all he talks about is women. He's the one who originally gave me my software for video editing, so you can blame him. All those years ago. All he talks about is women and cars, pretty much, but we love him. And yet he's one of the most decent people I know. Shallow as hell. But you know what? When push comes to shove, he's one of the few people that'll be there for you. And I don't want to get those people mixed up with the psychopaths. They'll go along to get along, and they're everywhere, and they need to go into a smart city. I want them separated from me and you. I want thinking, honest, decent people who get upset when they see gross injustice being done, who are physically made ill at gross injustice. We can psychologically profile them. Let's find them all, and we'll head a little further out west and find a place where we can all live together. Why not? Articulate what you want. Put it out there. It's like prayer. Put it out there, and you'll be surprised what might happen. Let's talk again soon. Have a good Thanksgiving. Eat well.